Welcome to the Pitmaster Podcast. We're barbecue competition competitors that aim to share information, advice, tips, and tall tales about our favorite pastime. Head over to the pitmasterpodcast.com for all things Pitmasters, or follow us on your favorite social media platform. And now, here are the hosts of the Pitmaster Podcast, the two-time grand champion, SCA World Champion finalist, and barbecue specialist of Smoke Ain't No Joke Barbecue, the Anthony Luan, and the 24-time grand and reserve grand champion, reserve world grand champion, Windover High Roller champion, and the founder of Pitmaster Barbecue Supply Company stores in Utah, the old man himself from Big Johnson's Barbecue, Jesse Johnson.
This is Greg Rempe from the Barbecue Central Show, and you are listening to the Pitmasters Podcast, and they are doing it live.
We'll do it live.
That's right, Bill. I just said that. They're going to do it live.
We'll do it live.
Yes, live. They're going to do it live.
What's up, Pitmasters? How's it going, Jesse?
How you doing, my friend? You enjoying this cold Utah weather?
Right, it was 90 degrees last week, and literally it snowed on us yesterday. It's crazy.
Dude. We did a demolition derby Saturday night, and I'm like, I looked at the weather. I'm like, I'll be okay in shorts. Big mistake. Glad I grabbed a hoodie though. Man,
Right.
saved my bacon, man. It was cold.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so that's all you've been up to this week? Just derby, huh?
Oh, cooking and helping a friend celebrate his 60th birthday, and then just the derby. So this is the only weekend I have off the rest of May and June, so
Got it. It's awesome.
go out and play.
Yeah,
Everybody's getting ready for the next competition, though. All the teams are getting all jazzed up, ready to roll.
head into Boulder.
Yeah,
Or is that right? Not Boulder. Bullhead
City,
just outside Vegas for
Yeah,
SCA and KCBS event. Before we get going too deep into this, want to shout out to Mr. Heath Riles for winning Memphis and May back-to-back grand champions. That's impressive with ribs.
Yeah, it's pretty big time, isn't it?
Right. Yeah, it's crazy. So that's freaking awesome. And
then Crooked Pigs got an RGC, gets them into the World Barbecue Cup.
Yeah, gets him to the Barbecue World Cup. So he's got his ticket in now. So
yeah,
that's starting to grow, getting a lot more people qualifying for that. That event's going to be pretty awesome. What was their target? They're looking for about 100 teams, right?
Yeah.
Heck yeah. And then tonight we have Walter Kinsey on the show with us, talking about his products and barbecue sauces. I've tasted them. I've already stacked them up in my favorites out of the, I guess, the mini gift set that he sells on his website. So I went through all those and tasted them and stacked them in the orders that I enjoyed them. And we'll talk to him about that. But yeah, this is pretty much a down week for barbecue other than Memphis in May.
Well, everybody getting ready for this weekend, so it's not really a down week,
Yeah, that's true. I guess it's a down week for me. I'm just packing in my trailer and getting out of town.
You're not going down to Boulder?
No, I'm heading up to Vernal.
Actually. Oh, nice.
I'm going to go
do a little four-wheeling,
do some hiking and exploring.
Hang out with Crystal.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, have her come over and join the fireside for the evening.
Yeah, so, go hit the Colorado liquor store, bro.
Right? That's what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. That's all I'm saying.
Right. Well, cool. Let's go talk to Walter and learn all about these barbecue sauces. And give them our feedback and let them know what we think about these, man.
Let's do it.
This is the single best investment you can make to become a better cook.
Thermopen 1 is the best thermometer I've ever had.
My thermometer of choice is ThermoWorks.
When it comes to quality that I can trust, this is the company that I go to over and over again.
There may be other thermometers out there, but there aren't other Thermopen.
Walter, welcome to the show. How's it going, man?
Man, thanks for having me. This is exciting. This is fun, but going great. I feel like I've finally kind of caught up from Memphis in May, and man, it was a whipping. But it was my first time ever to go to the show, compete, anything like that, and so we had a great time and super pumped with how it all turned out.
What did you compete in?
The sauce category. So I had a sauce in the tomato category and the vinegar category.
Gotcha.
And how do we fare out?
Both of them top 10. So jalapeno lime came in 7th in the vinegar category, and pickle came in 10th in the tomato category.
Awesome. Yes.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Yeah, Memphis and May. That's no joke, man. There's a lot of strong contenders there.
It's unbelievable. And there were, I want to say, I don't remember which is which. One category had like 80 or 90 different sauces in it. The other one had like 130, 140 sauces in it. So I want to say the jalapeno lime, that one had like 140 sauces in it. And so could be off by a mile, but that's we were going a million miles an hour there. So
right. So were you able to take home a Memphis and May trophy? One of the famous trophies.
Well, so the team I was on, I was out there with Mac Barbecue out of the Bay Area.
Okay.
And they came in as a team. We came in 8th on whole hog, and so there was a little hardware there. But I think they for the sauce categories, I think they only issue hardware to the top 5. So, but it was, what's crazy is like jalapeno lime. I got my overall score was I only missed it by 1/100th of a point. And so it was a 6-way tie for first. And then there were 3 of us that were 1/100th of a point from a perfect score. And so anyway, I was just out of it. So
it's always the one judge, right? That you always look at your score sheet and you're like, that one judge, man.
I got 10s across the board. So on jalapeno lime, I got 10s across the board, except for one judge, one of the 4 categories. I got a 9.99. And then on pickle, I got 10s across the board. Every single category, every single judge, except for the last one. Last category, I got a 9.97. And so and that was the difference between 10th and first. So so anyway, it was it's close. It's real close.
Yeah.
But we just had a great run at the American Royal. And so those are literally the only 2 competitions I've ever participated in. And I'm very pleased with how we did at the Royal too. So it is the last month of competitions, 0 complaints. So
that's awesome, man. Yeah, you can't complain about stacking up in those two fields. So that is awesome. Congratulations, man.
And the pickle sauce is awesome. Just tried it.
Yeah.
Just trying some of them fresh. I am not going to try the ghost pepper.
Let me tell you why you should. Let me tell you why you should.
Don't be scared.
All right. So
I'm scared.
Well, so what did you think of the heat on the pickle?
Not a lot of heat. Just a little bit of kiss on the end.
Ghost is even less. So
really?
I slow roast the peppers for 2.5 days on the Ghost. I believe you should enjoy the flavor of a pepper, not the heat. And so none of my stuff is crazy hot. Even my Reaper flavor isn't crazy hot. But that Ghost, I slow roast the peppers for 2.5 days. What that does is it cooks out almost all the heat. What's left are the natural smoky tones of the pepper. So that's my quote unquote smoky sauce.
Mm-hmm.
I love the smoke of the Ghost, but it doesn't pack a huge punch.
No, it's not ripping hot. I was expecting anytime you see ghost peppers, I'm like, not me.
That's right.
That's got a good. That's got a great flavor to it as well. We have to get those in the shop.
That's the one I hear the most from pitmasters that they love, because the natural smoky tones of that pepper. That's not corporate chemicals that's making that flavor. That is natural from the ghost pepper that seeps into the meat when you use it as a finishing sauce. And let it rest there for a second, and it just highly complements smoked meats across the board. So that is the one that pitmasters tell me the most that they use as a finishing sauce.
Nice. So yeah, the flavors that come in this sample kit.
That's right. Yep.
We got pickle, fiery, sweet, ghost, and espresso.
That's right.
And I just named all those in the order that I stacked them in.
Wait, you got to say that one more time. Then say it one more time.
So it's pickle, fiery, sweet, ghost, and then espresso.
And then espresso. Okay.
Yes.
I like that. that. And that is not too terribly off. I'm a metrics nerd, and that's not too terribly off. Like, I love to study what is the second bottle that someone buys from me. And because our 5-pack mini sampler is our number one SKU, it gives everybody a chance to try a whole bunch of our flavors in one try, and then that second order is always what they like the most. Pickle, 53% of our units. It crushes. And then but then fiery and sweet come in there, and they do great as well. And then Ghost is more, and espresso are more personal preferences. Like if you're really feeling something highly specific, those are kind of the less neutral flavors that I have of everything that I sell. So
right. So that's
how many different SKUs do you have?
10.
Gotcha.
So we have our black labels, which are the 5 that's in that mini sampler set. And those are available anywhere 365 days a year. And I really like that lineup because it kind of hits everything from sweet, has no heat whatsoever, all the way to stuff that's got a little bit of a tickle, and then it's just a really good complete stuff. It's got more novelty items in there like espresso and pickle as well, but it's just a kind of a complete lineup, which is I really like. Then we have 10 additional flavors, but that list is always growing because once a month I release a new limited release flavor. We started that in January. And so January we released jalapeno lime. February we released Dubai chocolate, which is the one that won the specialty category at the American Royal. March we released Pekin, which is a really, really great flavor for the summer. And April, we released pistachio. And then May, just a few days ago, we released Reaper. And those, I make 250 bottles. We put them online. When they sell out, they're gone. We don't bring them back online. They're only available at retail at that point.
Gotcha.
So it creates a great retail experience as well, because now grocery stores are able to establish exclusives and different things like that. And it gives them access to products that you can't get anywhere else. And so, and we're going to continue that trend. So we have June's flavor ready to go. We have July's flavor ready to go. And then we're going to kind of change gears. So we're still going to release some limited release stuff, but it's not going to be unique flavors. It's going to be our current flavors presented in different formats starting in August.
So you're doing like a sneaker drop with sauce.
That's right. That's right.
Doing drops.
That's drops. Right. Now you got to do is there's plenty of space on these labels. Now you just need to do one of 50 or one of what, and then just number them. That'd be dope.
It's interesting you say that. This was the March drop. So this is Pekin, which I love. And so I told you we make 250 of them. When they're gone, they're gone. So this is one of 249 of them. And then we have our one of one, which is a similar label, but just presented differently. And one person at random. And what I do is I have my daughters, I have a 7-year-old and an 11-year-old. That morning on the way to school, they pick a number between 1 and 250. And whoever buys that bottle gets that. And so it's a total surprise. So when everybody goes and buys, one person, when they go to open up their package, they're going to find the limited release. And so anyway, that is
I love it. That's awesome.
So how do you handle the limited release with your retailers?
So the day after the drop, they sell out typically within I think Reaper. We did Reaper on Saturday. It sold out in 7 minutes. And so they sell it pretty quick. And then we always have the email ready to go. So then the next day, the retailers get the email that it's now available, and then they go and they place their orders and they're ready to rock. And so on Sunday, that email went out to all of our retailers, and I didn't get a big response on Sunday, but starting Monday, the orders started coming in. I think we had 90 retailers place an order on Monday, and so we'll now go and manufacture that product, and it'll ship starting next week.
Yeah, because that jalapeno lime sounds really interesting for my customers.
Well, and I'll tell you, jalapeno lime is what got us into retail to begin with. We've only been in retail since February 4th was the first time, and it happened because a grocery store owner who'd been following us on TikTok out of Bath, Maine, was one of them that got in on jalapeno lime. He got it, called me a week after he got it. He's like, "We got to figure out how to get this in the store." And so that's how I worked out my whole retail program. and he and I worked together. And then what was, we're more competitive at retail than we are online. That part of that's by design.
Sure.
Nothing pisses me off, pardon my friends, nothing pisses me off more than when I'm in a grocery store, I see a price that's crazy and I go online, figure out I can get it cheaper somewhere else.
Yeah.
And so that's part of the strategy is when people are walking the aisles of the stores I'm in, I want them to go online and immediately see a value for buying at that store. So he went on, he brought 6 flavors in, and he went at $14.99 on his shelves and called me a week later, said, I haven't sold a single bottle. And we discussed a few different things we'd do. Ultimately, he dropped his prices around $1. Then the other thing he did, which at $13.99, I'm still way more expensive than anybody else in the category. What he did, though, was he raised every other barbecue sauce anywhere from 25 cents to $1 a bottle. And now it's a win. And then he called me 1 week after that, and he said, we're moving now. And he placed his second order. And so he bridged the gap between me and everyone else, put me at a little bit more of a value. And now when he's not selling my products, he's making a higher margin. When he is selling my products, it's good for him, good for me. And Sweet Baby Ray's was the only company suffering at that point. So it pulled everybody else up, and brought me into the mix. So it worked out. It's worked out great. And everywhere we are at, when they're $11.99 to $13.99, they're having no problem selling product.
Yeah, that's about the sweet spot for barbecue sauces these days.
That's right.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about the packaging. There's a lot of products on the shelf, speaking of which. So you decided to go with the pretty much a black label. On your limited editions, you do have a little bit more jazzed up labels.
That's right.
Let's talk about why you decided to go with the black label, the matte, I should say, black label to stack up against everything else on the shelves.
Everything about my stuff. Let me pause for just a second. First of all, I don't cut corners at all in the production of my stuff. When you look, even if you flip over that bottle and you look at the nutrition label, there's not a bunch of crap in there. I already talked about the ghost pepper as an example. We slow roast that pepper for 2.5 days. Yeah. Like, there's not a corner we cut anywhere on the inside of that bottle. And for that reason, it's going to force us to be on the top end price point wise of anything you're going to find anywhere else. And so it got to a point where it was like everything about this experience has to be surprising, pleasant, and incredible. And so, and I really did design the label knowing one day I would have to be at retail. And so I wanted, when you're walking down that aisle, you got a sea of labels that are just cluttered with all sorts of stuff. And that's their prerogative. It's their product. They can do whatever the hell they want with it. I want my stuff to look super clean and I want it to pop. And whenever you're just hauling down an aisle, when you're perusing, I want you to stop for a second and see me. And so that's why I went with the height of the bottle I went with. That's why I went with the style of the labels I went with. And then when you pick it up to look at it, I wanted that first impression to be like, oh, wait, like this even feels different. Like and that matte finish on it, it gives that soft touch to it. And then you flip it over and you look at it and you say, okay, this bottle is premium. The label's premium. The ingredients are premium. Everything about it's a premium. And then should I get you at that point and you decide to make a purchase, then you get home and you realize how easy it is. Whenever you look at the top of it is clean. It's designed like the top of that is designed to where I can't stand open up my refrigerator and seeing a bunch of crust and crap all over a bottle. Anything that's been used once, you can see everything on the inside. It just looks bad. And so the way the nozzle I went with here is designed that you have a ton of control when you pour it out of the bottle, but whenever you're done pouring, it sucks everything back in and there's not a bunch of crap left all over the place. All of that is intended. I want you to have a wonderful experience from the time you first see the bottle until it's time to reorder because you've gone through it. And so you have complete control, everything. So probably a pretty boring description, but that's everything about it is if you're going to pay more than what you pay anywhere else, it better damn sure be the best experience every step of the way. And I stand behind what's inside the bottle and I go through a pretty rigorous process before I release anything. And so, but I want every aspect of the experience to be as good as anything else. And even like when you buy on our website, If you buy before 4:30 in the afternoon, your product is packaged and on its way to whatever carrier is going to take it within 1 hour. Like everything, I have tons of people on TikTok, they joke we're faster than Amazon, and I can't control how long it takes FedEx or UPS or the post office to get it from them to you, but I can control how long it takes me to get it to them. And in most cases, from the time you place your order until it's setting at the post office or UPS or somewhere else, it's less than 2 hours. And I've set up an operation at our home base to make that possible.
That is so awesome. I guess something we forgot to touch about on was, how did this all start?
Yeah.
Let's hit that rewind button.
Hit the rewind.
Yeah. How did we get here today? Where did it all come from?
I grew up, man, there's a 3-minute version of the story all the way to about a 7-day version of the story. So I'll try to land on the front end of that. So this flavor right here, Fiery, which I'm in the process of rebranding it. That's what we always just called it as a family, but it's not fiery. As you tried it, it's not overly hot. So if you're looking for something hot, you're going to be disappointed. If you want to avoid something hot, you're going to miss out on something, because this isn't overly hot. It's even milder than pickle. It's just a nice sweet heat is what I like to call it. Anyway, I grew up with it. My aunt, Ann Kinsey, she's had this recipe for 30 or 40 years. She's a great woman, but that was the condiment I grew up with. And it came to us in 1-gallon mason jars back in the day, the same ones. I don't know if any of you ever went to get your milk from a dairy, but the milk used to be delivered in 1-gallon mason jars. That's how we get a batch of 1 gallon of sauce. We get it once a year, and we worked our way through it. And so I grew up with it. Truth is, as anybody can attest, every family has a family recipe. And most of the time, it's only delicious to the family. Most of the time, it's not delicious beyond the family. And, but, fast forward, I leave home. I moved to Texas. I grew up in Kansas. I moved to Texas. I started an entertainment company. And I'm putting on big concerts all over the world with the biggest entertainers in the world. And I had a gift I used to give entertainers before COVID. And then COVID humbled everybody in my industry. And we lost a lot of money in those first 4 days of COVID that I didn't have to lose. And so those big gifts that I used to give entertainers for agreeing to do parties for me shrank. And so I called my aunt. This was right after COVID ended and we were back to doing live shows again. I called my aunt. And I'm like, what would you think about me bottling this stuff and just giving it to these entertainers? And so she taught me how to make it and gave me the recipe, and we got after it, and I started making it and just handing it to the biggest stars in the world. And for me, it wasn't about what they thought about inside of the jar. For me, it was, I got to say, hey, I made this for you in my kitchen. And this is a secret family recipe, and I hope you love it as much as I love making it for you. Because what do you buy someone that's
has everything?
Has 30 things, it's just and so it worked. And for me, like a lot of times what would happen, I got the moment 100% of the time, but then a lot of times they were giving it to their roadies, or even better for me, they would leave it in their green room. And then I'd be able to go snatch it up and get it and give it to the next person and not have to remake it. And so, but then the exact opposite of what I was trying to have happened. And about one day, I guess this was it was middle of 2023. I got a phone call from probably one of the biggest country stars of all time. And he was like, hey man, I've already gone through all this. Where can I buy it in Nashville? I'm like, you can't, but I got your address. Let me send you some. And then a pretty big rock star called me one day and said, hey, where can I get this in Beverly Hills? Well, you can't, but let me send you some. And that sort of thing just started happening more and more. And then it got to a point a couple of years ago where I went to my wife and I was just like, the joy's gone. Like, I don't give a crap that people love this. Like, I am done. Like, it's eating up every weekend just making this stuff. And I wasn't charging anybody for it. Like, I was making it, shipping it to them. Like, I was eating all the cost. And so she was like, well, listen, you're not going to tell them to F off. So you just need to start charging them for it and they'll leave you alone. And so that's what I did. I put a price tag on it, and the exact opposite happened. Now I was making more. So then I doubled the price of it, and thinking they'd get the hint at that point. and they didn't, and it started happening more. And then even the better gift was once they started paying for it, they felt like they could give me feedback, and that has been gold for me, because that's what's helped inform a lot of the decisions I've made. Everything from other flavors we've created to the process to which we sell it, to which we offer it. And then I went through this whole season of like, I am a businessman, and so I'm not going to do something foolishly. And so I thought, having no concept of this industry whatsoever, other than I love to cook, I love to grill, I love smoking meats, I love cooking for my neighborhood, I love hosting parties, I love all of that. But like, how do you go up against Hunts and Hines and Kraft and Campbell's and McCormick and all these big boys? And frankly, I just was under a naive position that you don't, like, they just crush you. Like if you are even somewhat of a threat, your days are numbered. They're going to do whatever they can to bury you. But what I found was the exact opposite. What I found was an industry that was unbelievably welcoming. You wouldn't believe some of the CEOs that I just went on to LinkedIn for some of the biggest companies, some of which I've already listed on this podcast. And I just sent them a LinkedIn message and said, I'd love to pick your brain. I'm thinking about getting into this industry. What are your thoughts? You wouldn't believe the number of people that agreed to have a meeting with me, and the number of people that gave me like unbelievable amounts of time and advice and like things to avoid and things to do, connections like to various suppliers in the industry that could help, streamline a lot of our process. I was blown away by how welcoming this entire industry was and has been, on just like, no, kid, you're never going to be a problem for us, and you're never going to be a threat, so let's help. And most of them like made me swear I'd never tell anybody publicly that they helped me out, but like quite literally some of the biggest transactions in the history of barbecue, they're either former CEOs or current CEOs happily took a meeting with me and have been they've been great cheerleaders for me as well. Like anytime they see us do something meaningful, sending me little notes saying, keep going, you're doing all the right things. And so it's been the exact opposite. And even like American Royal in Memphis in May, those are things like I would have never thought I had any business going to. And to some extent I don't, but like I wasn't going to apply for either one of those, but it was the industry coming to me saying, hey man, like, hope we see you in Kansas City. Hope we see you in Memphis. Cause you belong here. And so, I applied for the American Royal one day before the deadline, and we ended up with 4 top 25 finishes and 3 top 10 finishes, 2 top 3 finishes, and we won a category. And it's just like, that was a result of this welcoming, unbelievable industry saying, come on, you got a place here. We want to support you. And even Crystal, like, she has been just this unbelievable advocate. I've known who she was for 45 days. And now like I look at like what an unbelievable inspiration she's been to me. And she's got this unbelievable knack of like, when a day is exceptionally hard, somehow she just knows I'm having a tough day. And that's when I get a text message from her to say, something positive. And she has no idea that I'm having a tough day, but all of a sudden she's there and my day gets better. And
that's awesome.
That's how this whole industry's been. And it's been wonderful. So
yeah, because a rising tide lifts all boats. I'm in the same mentality. I'm not a scarcity thinker. I'm an abundance thinker. So just if you're helping to build the community, build everybody else that's in barbecue, it helps everybody, and there's enough room for everybody.
That's right. Well, that is not the experience. I mean, there's so many wonderful people in entertainment, some of the greatest human beings I've ever met. But boy, if you have an idea, you better not tell anybody or it's gone in that.
not in the music industry. No.
Yeah. 15 years of just getting, of having to just hold everything close to the chest. It's just been a pleasant surprise, being welcomed into this industry the way I have been. It's been amazing. So
that's awesome. Jesse, did you see I jumped in the music industry today?
I saw that.
Yeah.
He's making his own.
I dropped I dropped 2 singles today.
Really?
Yeah, they're all AI generated. Is awesome.
I love that. That's awesome. Where did you
both of them
drop them?
barbecue. They're both barbecue. And I just put them on my Instagram, but
Oh,
it's
that's
hilarious.
That's
I was like,
fun.
I made album covers and everything. It's pretty solid stuff, man.
What did you use to make the songs?
I came across this AI. I just randomly typed in rap songs on AI and it pulled right up. It was crazy.
That's awesome.
And then used Chat GPT for my album cover. It was awesome.
I love that. That's cool.
Let's see if I can pull it up for you really quick. Let's see here. At least the picture, anyways. Oh man, but yeah.
What's funny? I just was listening to John Fogerty on Joe Rogan, and it was interesting because I've been in the music. I've been hosted radio stations and run radio stations for forever. But when we were doing a bunch of concerts, the worst band I've ever had to deal with was CCR. Without John. They weren't even our headliner.
Yeah.
And they were just crotchety and a pain in the butt. We almost kicked them off the lineup. That's how bad it was. They almost didn't get their check, their second, the other half of their check. You know how that goes.
Yep.
They almost got booted out. So it's crazy. Sawyer Brown was a headliner, and they were phenomenal.
Yep.
They went out and played in a light rainstorm and just did an incredible show.
There you go. There's my album cover.
Hey, look at that. That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, I'm going to have to go find this and listen to these hits here in a minute.
Oh man, they're fantastic. The things you can load into AI to have the results is solid. It's fun.
I've got a buddy that owns an AI music company. He's had it for 7 or 8 years now. I won't bore you all with the details here. It is a eyebrow raising business, but boy, is he printing some cash. So yeah, Jesse, I've worked with everybody you just listed, including the podcast host. And, it's interesting what an influence that management can have on the personality of a band, how hard management makes it for you. But we always had a no assholes rule, and I didn't care what it was. Like more specifically, I threw birthday parties for billionaires, and I still do. And it is, I just don't do nearly as many as I used to. But so we were working in some high stakes environments with some of the most powerful people in the world, some of the biggest bands in the world. But I had no problem going to whatever billionaire had hired me to throw a party for him to say, sorry, so-and-so is not going to be on your stage tonight. I sent them home and I'm not going to pay them. And this is how they were treating your team. This is how they were treating the people. This is the attitude they had. And I had no confidence that they were going to do a good job entertaining your guests. And so I always put a rule in there that any party I was throwing, they couldn't announce who the entertainment was. And I can count on one hand the number of times we had a problem. I've done almost 6,000 concerts in my career. I can count on one hand the number of times we've had a problem. But every time it saved the party by telling the band, get the hell out. So
I
had a band one time, they did their sound check and they were just such a pain in the ass to everybody. They went back to their hotel and I texted the tour manager, said, all your shit's in the ditch at the front gate and come get it whenever you're ready because you guys aren't on the show tonight. So
that's what I'm talking about.
Good for you, man.
Put them in their place, right? Exactly. We're everybody's people, right? They don't need to treat people different. That's awesome.
That's right.
That is awesome. Anyways, one more thing about music, then we'll go back to the sauce. Walter, with your connections, we need you to help us get Warren G on the show. Sniffing Griffin's Barbecue.
Come on. I have hired Warren G.
Yes.
So I've
hosted one of their shows.
I just want to get him on the show, just one because I grew up listening to West Coast hip hop, and then knowing that he's in the barbecue industry and cooking, and I was like, I need to figure out how to get him on the show. So
let's
just gotta try to regulate, baby.
Exactly.
So that is my walk on and walk off song. So at my company, on your first day, you had to in your new hire orientation, you had to also proclaim what your walk on music was. Regulators is my walk-on music. And
Awesome.
so like, when we would do retreats, or if I was ever given a keynote somewhere, it didn't matter if it was for my company or if I was being, asked to speak somewhere and they were doing walk on or walk off music. It's always Warren G Regulators. That's my song. So
It's awesome. See,
mount
this is
up.
full circle, man. Full circle.
Mount up.
That's right.
Full circle.
So
So, anyways, let's back to the sauce. So we heard the story about Fiery and how that got started.
yeah.
But we started off with a show with pickle being your number one. Where did this come about? And
9 a.m.
how did it just take off compared to everything else?
So great questions. So first thing is it came about 9 a.m. on a flight. Don't remember where I was flying to, but I had a Bloody Mary in my hand. And I was just getting of the mindset that I wanted to start experimenting a little bit with some other stuff. And I got to thinking like, wait, I could make this Bloody Mary better. And and so that's where the idea came from, was drinking a Bloody Mary. But then as I started to develop it, unlike some other flavors, like my first batch is the recipe. Like I've never tweaked it one time. The very first time I made it, that is the one. But I remember whenever I tried it, what I loved about it was it has a novelty name, but we all know, like, I'll use the example of Lay's, Lay's, if you're listening, I would love to do a collaboration with you. But like Lay's, they'll release a chicken and waffles chip, or they'll release a biscuits and gravy flavored chip. And we have all bought them, and you buy it how many times? Once.
One time.
Because you take it and that first chip, it's like, oh my gosh, they nailed it. And then the second chip, you're like, I am over this shit. And so because they push it too far, and they have to, because they don't want there to ever be any mistake that biscuits and gravy chip, that is biscuits and gravy. And so they push it so far that you never ever buy it a second time. And what I loved about the way that the pickle turned out was I felt like I nailed it in terms of like getting that dill flavor. But I felt like it was subtle enough and it was delicious enough that it's like I could just keep going through this. And that's what's happened. And it's insane because as much as you can trust ChatGPT or any of them, my research shows an average bottle of barbecue sauce, which will not apply to anybody that's listening to this podcast because this is what we do. But the average American, the ketchup is the most common condiment in your refrigerator. A bottle of barbecue sauce is more common than a bottle of mustard, a bottle of mayo, or a bottle of ranch. However, average American, bottle of barbecue sauce sits in the fridge 11 months before they either throw it away or they get through it. And so they're more likely to have barbecue sauce in their fridge than they are mustard, mayo, or ranch dressing, but they don't go through it as much as they go through mustard, mayo, and ranch dressing. And so knowing that, when I give you a stat that I'm about to give you, my average customer that buys pickle, by day 40, they bought 4 bottles.
Wow.
4 bottles.
Yeah.
So they're going through it. They're getting it. They're realizing that they should use it on their eggs in the morning. They should use it on their burgers. It's a great French fry dip. They're using it for more than smoked meats. And again, the stat doesn't apply to most of the people listening to this podcast right now, but the average person that loves smoking, they might even own a big green egg, still only going to smoke 4 weekends out of the year.
Right.
Like they just don't. When it comes down to it, they don't give themselves enough time to prepare to do it as often as they want to do it. And if they're holding on to a bottle of barbecue sauce for when they're smoking meats, they're just not going to go through it very often. And so we spend a lot of time educating people to use it on your scrambled eggs in the morning, use it on your burgers, use it on your French fries. Heck, we got a lot of flavors people use as salad dressings. But so we spend a lot of time educating people to use it early and often. And then we also create flavors that aren't so hardline barbecue that you can find yourself wanting to use it on more things than pulled pork. So that's our goal.
Well,
it's funny when Crystal had the big bottle, she gave me the choice of what to pick. What did I pick? Pickle, baby.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's good.
That's right.
Yeah, that's exactly what I went with too. And so I've never really been a huge fan of pickle. I've always, I'm kind of like, I'll be selective on my pickles when I get like a sandwich from a barbecue shop or anywhere, even just the local burger joint. I'm like, no pickles. I'm just not a huge fan of them. And then one day, a company comes along called Fat Plate Barbecue.
Yeah.
He released this barbecue rub, dill pickle. I tasted it, and it literally is a pickle without the crunch or the liquid. It is just so like, this is a dill pickle in powdered form, which was awesome. And then that kind of turned me a little bit. And then that's why I leaned toward your product. I was like, if that product was good, I wonder if the sauce is good. Dude, you hit an Albert Pujols home run here with this thing, because this thing went a mile, because this is going to be awesome. Put it on fried chicken. Just how many of us have, maybe not Jesse, but he might, but just the Costco bag of the chicken bites that you can throw in the air fryer, right?
Yep.
This is definitely going to be one of those things that you reach for to dip those in, and it's, I think, like I think you hit it on the head. I think I'll probably be ordering this within the next 40 days because I'll be out.
I love that. And listen, I'm a dad to a 7-year-old and an 11-year-old. We're busy. I mean, our girls are in activities, school, all of that. We're busy. We survive on our air fryer. We survive on it. And what I love about what we're doing here and what we try to preach is you can take 15 minutes to make dinner. You can take 5 minutes to make dinner and add something that's just going to take it to a level that it doesn't matter that you didn't have 2 hours to think through your dinner. It doesn't matter. Yep. Just crank something for 10 minutes in the air fryer, drizzle with this, dinner served. It's ready to go. Put a little honey, put a little of this on those chicken. Game over.
Well, and the thing is I think from being a person that's very selective on my pickle types, this is going to just substitute for that, so I don't have to actually pickles. Because let's be honest, if you go to a barbecue joint, you don't know if they're going to have a McDonald's style, flimsy style pickle, or they're actually going to have a crisp pickle. That's why I choose not to go with them, because I don't like that slimy, non-bite, crunchy pickle. So I just choose not to do it. But this is a great substitute versus, just leave the pickles off. I'm going to hit this with some barbecue sauce, and I'm still going to get a better flavor. I'm going to get that pickle flavor, and I'm just going to elevate my meal. So
it's crazy how many pickles we sell out of the barbecue shop. I sell so many pickles, and I am a pickle fiend. Like I like a really good kosher pickle. I'll eat 2 or 3 a night. I kid you not. I love pickles to death.
Jesse, do you ever buy those big pickles at the store in a bag? Are you that big of a pickle fan?
No,
have you gone that far?
I go buy a gallon of the kosher pickles at Sam's Club and just I'll kill 2 or 3 of them a night. They're a little soft, and then I tried that olive my pickle, and it was a brine pickle, and it was just not as good.
And Walter, this is what I'm going to do with this. I'll probably make it, maybe not this weekend, the following week. So I have these things called West Coast Twinkies. I've been trying to let everybody know about them. Nobody else has recreated them. I don't know why. So what you do, maybe you can do this. So what I do is I take a Baby Bell cheese, cut it in half. Then I'll take a super crunchy pickle, just the medallions, put that on there, and then pack spicy sausage around it, make them almost like a ball. Then I wrap bacon around them, and then I put them in the smoker. And then I think putting this sauce on top to finish them out is going to put that extra layer of pickle flavor on there, because the spicy sauce just kind of takes that pickle bite away. It's in there, but it's not a pop that I'm really looking for. I think this is going to add the pop.
I love that. That's awesome. So I've done a sausage bomb. I call them sausage bombs. Instead of a pickle, it's a jalapeno, but it's a similar process. Dude, I want to try it with the pickle.
That's a Texas Twinkie with the jalapeno.
With the jalapeno. That's why I decided. That's why I named it the West Coast Twinkie, because it has a pickle and it's just with the spicy sausage, right?
I'm cooking on a TV show, just a regional thing here in the Dakotas on Friday morning. I'm going to do that. I'm going to make that on the TV show.
Dude, will you do it and tag us?
Yes, I will. I will. Yeah. That sounds phenomenal.
Yeah, they're good because you get that. It's just that traditional sausage and bacon bite, right? But then the pickle just changes it completely.
How big is what you're describing? Like what is the, because like a sausage bomb in Texas, they're a big old ball. Like how big a thing are you describing?
They're about the size of a silver dollar, right?
Yeah, they're not very big. Yeah, they're
even better.
you take a baby bell and cut it in half. That's
it's pretty much
that's
the
a little
size
bit smaller than a silver dollar. But then
Yeah.
when you wrap it all up, it's going to be about the size of a silver dollar. And it's going to be a little flatter, right?
Yeah,
Or do you make it
it's
into a
more
ball?
like it's oversized meatball at the end is what I used to make them a little bit longer, but I've made them like as an oversized meatball pretty much because you got to pack enough sausage around it to keep the cheese from leaking out.
Right.
Yep.
So yeah, I can usually get about 8 for a pound of sausage, the Jimmy Dean hot sauce sausage, and then usually it's just one. Usually I'm able to wrap it with one piece of bacon as well. Thin cut, not thick cut.
That's what I love about this industry.
Thin sliced.
Yeah, thin sliced bacon.
That's what I love about this industry. That's what I love about this style of food. Like everything you just described, I could go down to Walmart and for a few bucks, I could have all of that.
Yep.
And then go home and create something that is so damn delicious that, you think about any other cuisine and it requires a fancy grocery store and a bunch of expensive ingredients to pull it off. And it's just, I love this. That's fabulous.
Right. That's what's cool about this industry. And Jesse can attest to this. 15 years ago, nobody's going to tell you what they're cooking in the barbecue because they thought they're going to keep everything in the belt buckle, right? If I ever have to compete or something like that, I'm not going to tell anybody. But now, since I think social media has changed it a lot to where everybody's just kind of like willing to share their knowledge in barbecue and being able to spread that. Because, like we just said, I want you to try this recipe that I came up with, and hopefully you enjoy it, especially with the sauce, and take it to the next level as well.
I love that. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah. So, and I think this sauce is going to take it to the next level. And then, even if you don't want to use the pickle sauce, I think something spicy like the ghost or the fiery would definitely help as well.
That's right. Well, and I think even some of our limited release flavors, and I've really enjoyed that program. But like our Pekin as an example, which Pekin's a ultra rare pepper out of Mexico. They're about the size of a pea. It's my favorite pepper. They pack a huge punch right out of the gate, and then it just turns into this tropical flavor. And it's the biggest mind trip of any pepper because we've all had those really hot peppers, and once the pain's over, the residue's still there, and you're still kind of numb from the experience. And that's just not it with the Pekin. You're hit with a big old punch right out of the gate, and then it's like it never existed, and all it is this really pleasant tropical flavor. But anyway. This jalapeno lime, they're great for like shrimp tacos. They're great for fish. They're great for all sorts of stuff. And that's and so I've really enjoyed that. And I think even jalapeno lime on your what'd you call it? A West Coast the West Coast
Twinkie.
West Coast Twinkie. Like the jalapeno lime would also be just another one that would just complement. It's a light kind of citrus flavor to it. I cook a lot of the heat out of the jalapeno, so all you're left with is that very distinct jalapeno flavor without a lot of the heat, and I think it would complement that great. And right now that because it's not available because once we sell out, it's not available online. But I'll make sure that you guys get some of the jalapeno lime and Pekin because I think it's you'll see what I mean whenever you try it. It's it's just a great flavor. So
what's nice is you're coming out with very unique flavors that aren't on the market right now. And the unique flavors, when we bring something new into the stores, those unique flavors usually sell really, really well.
Well, Dubai chocolate is, other than pickle, is my number one reorder from every single grocery store. And it's not even for meats. It's a dipping sauce that's intended for French fries and tater tots. It's intended to be a drizzle on pizza. It shocked me when it did what it did at the American Royal because it was never intended to be like this distinct barbecue sauce. It was more of a personal challenge, but it is done great. And that's what grocery stores are telling me is it's constantly reorders of it. People are coming back and buying their second and third bottles. And so we move a lot of it, but that's it. Our pistachio flavor, again, it works. It's wonderful on pork tenderloin, on pulled pork, and things like that. Heck, even cook up some bacon and do a drizzle on some bacon. It's wonderful for that, but it's it's very earthy with a little sweet finish to it. But it's not everything I release. My black labels, there's some traditional stuff in my black labels, but my colorful labels, everything we release, you're not going to find anything like it out there. Period.
Yeah.
So
Pistachio sounds very interesting because I'm a pistachio nut too.
Well, for some strange reason, I feel like pistachio is kind of it's trending right now.
It's having a moment.
Pistachio cheesecake at Costco. So I feel like it's kind of trending slightly.
Right down the road from y'all is actually the very first outlet that ever carried our stuff. Chop Shop Butchers in Park City, Utah. They just released. They have a bakery side. They just released a pistachio cheesecake, and so yeah, But that's another one. Dubai chocolate and pistachio took me the longest to develop. I worked on both of those for over a year, but it is so not all of them are like pickle where I got it the way I wanted it the first try. Most of them it doesn't work that way. So
right.
But I really, that's the first thing when I make one, it rests for 30 days and then I try it because the flavors are going to build a little bit over time.
Yeah,
and so, but that's the first thing I did. Once I tried it, I'm like, oh, that would be fire on some pork tenderloin. I went and just popped one in the oven and rested at the end of it, and it works. It worked great.
So how do you choose your limited edition flavors? How do you come up with those?
So I constantly have around. I just get a weird idea and I run with it. But no exaggeration, I've got somewhere between 30 and 40 in development right now.
Wow.
And but most of them will never make the cut. And so how I go about it is I get an idea, I go and I start working through it. Once I get it to a point where I feel like I've got it. And so best case scenario, it is I get an idea, I make that first batch, I let it rest for 30 days. Then if I like it, I go through the USDA, FDA label, all that process. There's another couple months. So now best case scenario, I've got 3 months into a flavor. At that point, I go and I do a focus group with 40 people. And my rule is, and I go to a different city in America every time. So I've done them in Florida and New England and West Coast, East Coast, everywhere. I typically don't go to like a Tennessee or a Texas or somewhere where there's like a strong opinion about barbecue. Sure. I try to go to more neutral places like San Francisco, Los Angeles, Seattle, places like that. Anyway, I 40 people, and 40 for 40 have to say that they'd buy the sauce. If even one person says they wouldn't buy it, it's cut. Wow. I don't do it. Then I go to a completely different region of the country. I do it again. 40 for 40 have to say that they're going to do it. If even one person says no, it's cut. The final step, so if we get to that point, now we're about 6 months in, best case scenario. If we get to that point, it goes in my fridge. And if I can't go through a whole bottle, and at any given time, I've got 20 different flavors set in my fridge. If I can't go through a whole bottle in 30 days, either me or my whole family, and if I can't find a reason, we all have been somewhere, saw something that sounded interesting, bought it, it gets in the fridge, and it's a dinosaur. We never touch it again, or we rarely get to it. If I can't go through a full bottle in 30 days, it's cut. So I could go through all of that and then get to the point where it's now in my fridge. If I can't work through it, because it's not good enough for me, for someone to see something and say, oh, I think I'd like that, I'm going to go ahead and buy it. Because Jesse, whether it's on your shelf or any shelf in America or sitting on TikTok, you can't try it till you've actually already made the decision. And so it's not good enough for me to create something interesting enough that people want to buy it. I want it to be good enough that when they do buy it, they work their way through it. I don't want to be a statistic where my bottle is sitting in someone's fridge for 11 months and they finally throw it away or finally work through. I want them going through it and coming back for more. And so that is, the fastest is from the day I get an idea to the day I'm preparing for the release of it. is about a 7-month process, best case scenario. And so when I lay it out like that, and we talk about Dubai chocolate or pistachio taking over a year, the reality is I just didn't like the first round. I didn't like the second round, and by the third or fourth, it was 4 rounds with pistachio, 3 rounds with Dubai chocolate. I ran into an issue with both of them because there's actual chocolate in it. And once you heat chocolate up, it starts to ferment, and so I ran into some shelf stability issues with both Dubai chocolate and pistachio that made me. I already had it the way I liked it, but I had to fundamentally change the manufacturing process in order to pull it off, and that was a while. Like, I was that close to releasing Dubai chocolate. I was sitting in my warehouse and I heard a pop, and I was like, that was weird. I thought a car backfired in the parking lot. And about 30 minutes later, I heard pop, and I was like, what?
Oh no.
And it all happened in the same day. And I went back into my R&D room, and it looked like
murder scene.
Like,
oh man,
feeling the walls, and the bottles had just started exploding, and
oh no,
and they were fermenting. And so, and these were bottles that I was about, but I had never, because it was that whole process that I described. I never have to put a seal on a bottle until I've decided I'm gonna. And so I had gone through the case studies, I'd gone through it in my fridge, had gone through all of that stuff. And I started producing it, putting seals on it, and getting ready to start shipping them, and they started exploding.
Oh man,
son of a bitch! And so that delayed us about 60 days, and so
I would never have thought that with chocolate.
Right? Yeah, that's crazy, Jesse. If you're going to give him one idea for a sauce, what would it be? I already have mine picked.
I just know what sells in the store. The traditional flavors sell really well, but people absolutely love peach sauces. Peaches and pineapples. Those are the two. That's the hottest thing that's going on right now for us.
So I'm gonna tell you something, Walter, that this is a problem in my kitchen, probably in a lot of kitchens, right? I'm a big taco and burrito guy.
Yep.
There is not a squeeze bottle of something that I can put on like a taco when it comes into the barbecue label stuff.
Jalapeno lime.
Nope. I'm going to take it to the next level, and you're going to research this. A birria style sauce. Do you know what birria is?
Oh yeah.
A birria barbecue sauce.
That's interesting.
Okay.
Something that kind of hits that ethnic side with a little bit of heat, that traditional, you'd have to go with, the cumins and that traditional Mexican style birria flavor that you can put on a taco and a burrito that is in the barbecue sauce format.
Well,
that's a good idea.
50% of your ideas that you guys have brought at me today is in development. And there's another 50% that needs to be in development. Those are both really, really awesome ideas. Really awesome ideas. So, man, I'm up for that challenge. I want to figure that out.
Yeah, because there's been times where I've been like, I'm not gonna lie, I went through Del Taco, Taco Bell, and had I really just don't want their sauce. Is there something I can elevate this with? And there's nothing in my fridge that can actually elevate.
Yeah,
my
issue with fruit sauces is it's really tough to cook with fruit without having shelf stability issues. And so most of them, if you look at the back of the label, there you see that term natural flavors, and what that really is something that's been made in a lab. And that's been my barrier of entry on the fruit sauces, is I just don't want a label that's caked full of BS. Now, admittedly, my Dubai chocolate label does have some BS in it to make it shelf stable. But I've tried to avoid it, but I'm getting over that, and we're having some fun with it. But peach is very interesting to me, but that's gonna be dang it, that's cool. Do try the jalapeno lime. You can't buy it, so let me send you a bottle of it.
Perfect.
And so I'll get with Crystal and get y'all's addresses, but
is it available to order for retail though?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I went through your website. I'm really fond of your website. When it comes to your product line, everything's really clean. The photography is awesome on it. And then what I do like about your website is that there's the abstract stuff too. You got a girl eating a hamburger with some sauce and a newspaper wrapped around her face.
Yeah.
It's just there's just stuff to make you actually stop and go, what is this? So I think your website's well done. That's what I was for the last 20 minutes. I've just been cruising your website and looking at like literally everything.
I'm curious, and I know we're at the top end of where y'all wanted to be, but I am curious, and you don't have to answer me now, what your experience is building a bundle on my site, because that literally delayed my site about 6 months working through that, where you can build a custom bundle. So I'd love for you to play around and see the way it functions, and shoot me a note if you don't mind what you like about it, what you don't like about it. But that was it's important to me that it be a fun and enjoyable experience. And so there's a slight gamification to it. Not really, you wouldn't know it if I didn't call it out, but there's elements to it that seem simple or almost like, but man, it was a whipping to get to that point. So we only released that site 3 weeks ago, and it was supposed to get released in August. And so that's how, but again, like everything else, until it's like, I won't release anything. So
I think that
awesome.
the sample pack's a brilliant idea, the way because it's really good packaging on your samples, and then people can grab that, take them home, try them, come back and reorder. I think that's going to be a slam dunk in the stores.
I really appreciate that, and I think so too. We have not released them to retail yet, but that's because I was waiting on packaging that had a UPC code. Those boxes came in on Friday, and so we're getting ready to launch those. And hopefully, the goal is that yes, that's right. So the goal is so you guys got prototype ones that the final version is slightly different than that. But I sent Crystal some prototype ones. But anyway, the goal was that they would be ready by Father's Day, so that by June 1st, retailers could have them on their shelves and ready to go. And then again, as we get closer to the holiday, I mean, we just sold a piss load of them during the holidays last year. And we like selling. I mean, they move great during holiday gifting seasons. Our issue with that, though, is the people that are receiving the gift aren't invested in the brand. And so they try it. It's really tough to get those people back, even if they like it, because they were never emotionally tied to the process to get it. And so we sell a ton of them, but what's amazing is the customers that buy the gift set for themselves right out of the gate are our best customers, and they buy piles of sauce from us. If they buy that 5-pack mini sampler set for themselves, it's the best customer we're going to have, because they're going to buy a bunch of stuff from us.
Well, and that would be a great way to get your sauces in the hands of some of these competition teams too, is to do some gifting at some of these competitions where, all right, part of your entry fee, like we gave away a grill fighter at our last barbecue competition. Everybody absolutely loved that grill brush. This would be a great addition to something for all the pitmasters to try that, and then they can figure out what their favorites are, and then they can come in the stores and order them or hop online.
I love that. I'd do that in a minute. I would do that in a minute. And if you have any suggestions on competitions that we should do that for, I'm not saying I can do it for them all, but I would love to sign up for a few of those for sure.
Yeah, we've got a handful of competitions that I'm still doing this year, so I'll reach out and we'll get them in the stores, and then maybe get some sample packs for some of the pitmasters out there.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's great.
Well, cool, man. Go ahead and tell everybody where to find you and how to be able to get their hands on some of your products.
Well, it sounds like maybe Jesse's store here pretty quick.
Yeah, that's right.
Next week, huh? Next week.
That's right. KinseyFoods.com. And KinseyFoods.com. And what I highly, highly, highly recommend, there's no gimmicks to it, but our VIP program is super easy to be a part of. You just got to give us your email address and cell phone number. And that is, if you're a member of our VIP program and we have your cell phone number on file, you get the email about the limited drop before everybody else. And your cell phone number is your password. 1 hour before the drop goes live, you get to go ahead and get in and secure it, get it in your cart. And that's when you hear about us selling out in 7 minutes or 60 minutes or whatever it might be. That's because our VIPs are able to go in an hour before they go on sale and go ahead and get them in their cart, so that just as soon as the drop's live, they're able to make the purchase and get them secured. We sell the vast majority in the first 15 seconds of the drop being live. And so the drops go quick, but they're always going to be super interesting. And so yeah, KinzieFoods.com, and Kinzie is spelled Kinzie, foods.com. I have I have like 7 different versions of the website spelled out where it reroutes because no one ever spells Kinzie right. But, KinzieFoods.com is where you can find everything. And then depending on where you're at, we're in about 130 Ace Hardware stores in various parts of the country, in California, Arizona, Florida, kind of all over. So, but yeah, KinzieFoods.com.
Sounds good.
And then all of our social handles are just at Kinzie Foods. And so TikTok, Instagram, we're getting into the summer months. So I live up in the mountains in South Dakota. And so, but in the summer months, I have this thing where every time I told you about the batches and how we go through it, but if something doesn't turn out, then I can't release it. And so I have a whole series of dumb videos where I dump sauce on my head some way or another. And so always entertaining to follow us on TikTok, because you never know what goofy way you're going to see me blowing through sauce I can't sell. So
nice. That's awesome. Well, cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And yeah, hopefully we could drive some people to picking up your product.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And hope you all have a wonderful evening. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
Yeah, take care.